Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. We're going to take a look at Aethon Shaan, and he's the new Raven Guard Chapter Master. He's got a pretty cool new model, very dynamic looking, one of the better ones they've released recently for Space Marines, especially for Codex Space Marines. An additional character for the Raven Guard, which is going to help them out. It gives a boost to the new updated Raven Guard detachment, which is always useful. Like most single models for Games Workshop, he is a little bit pricey. Taking a look at his datasheet, we don't have his points cost at the moment, but he comes out at movement 14 inch, toughness 4, 3 up save, 4 up and vulnerable save, 5 wounds, leadership 6, OC control 1. He does come in a little bit faster than Strike, who is that movement 12. It comes with the core rules for Deep Strike, so we can come in from strategic reserve anywhere on the battlefield outside of 9 inches of the enemy. Lone operative, so he can't be targeted outside of 12 inches, and stealth, where he's -1 to hit from ranged attacks. Got a ranged profile of ballistic skill 2, comes with a heavy bolt pistol with a pistol keyword, so he can shoot when in engagement range. Unfortunately, it is 18 inches, 1 attack, strength 4, -1 AP, 1 damage. It's not even mastercrafted. They seem to be very reluctant to give any of the characters a decent range profile. For his melee profile, he's weapon skill 2+. Comes with the claws of Severax. This is sustained hits 2, so any critical hits, he will gain 2 more hits. Twin link, we can reroll the wound roll. Comes in at 7 attacks, strength 5, -2 AP, 2 damage, so the same profile as Shrike. He's just swapping Vision for sustained hits 2. Looking at his abilities, his first one is Master of Shadows. In your command phase, select 1 unit from your opponent's army. At the start of your next command phase, each time a unit from your army declares a charge whilst within 12 inches of that enemy unit, you can re-roll the charge roll. And the next part's important, you must declare that enemy unit as a target of that charge if possible. That's really nice. It gives you a little 12-inch re-roll, making your charges that little bit more efficient. And the if possible clause is quite nice because you could potentially move block yourself from getting within engagement range of this unit and give you a free shot at another unit with that reroll. Second ability is called Blackwing Mantle. You can target this model's unit with the rapid ingress or heroic intervention stratagem for 0 CP. You can do this already if that stratagem is being used on a different unit this phase. So this is quite nice. Rapid ingress allows it to come in at the end of your opponent's movement phase. Same rule as Deep Strike really, anywhere outside of 9 inches of the enemy. And Heroic Intervention gives you that nice little counter charge ability. Using that for 0 CP is very nice, especially since you can double up on it. So if you do, for example, potentially have Terminators, where they get to rapid ingress for 0 CP when they're using the Teleport Homer, that gives you 2 of those in 1 turn, which is really nice, and it's costing you nothing. It does have a little bit of a negative rule though. So if you're taking him as well as Aethon Strike until the end of the battle, Aethon Strike loses the lone operative ability. So he can be targeted when outside of 12 inches, which is a bit disappointing. And he's no longer Chapter Master, he gets the Captain keyword. But he does still get to join units, which is quite nice. Now, if you do take the new Raven Guard detachment, there is an ability on there which is quite nice, called Unparalleled Tactician. So if you do take Aethon Shaan, once per battle round, while he's on the battlefield, you can use the Into Darkness stratagem for 0 CP. So that's a little bit disappointing, so you can't really use his ability to pop in and out or deep strike. He has to be on the battlefield to use this. So it's a minor buff for him really, and it's placing some restrictions on what you can do with him. So anyway, Darkness stratagem is when you can use this at the end of your opponent's fight phase. And this allows you to target up to 2 Phobos or Scout units, or just 1 other infantry unit. This unit cannot be in engagement range, but it can be any other unit on the battlefield. And you get to remove these units from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserve. So that's quite nice. You get to pull some units off of the battlefield and bring them back on, and you get to use that for free. If you do have them on the battlefield, you get to use that really 4 times a game, which isn't too bad at all. Looking at the couple of extra stuff that comes with them. So he can't join any units, which is a bit disappointing. He has to be used by himself. You're not really going to get any buffs onto any units like you do with Shrike. He's there mostly as the support character, so you get to use that nice little reroll to your charge roll, which isn't too bad. And he does have that nice counter punch as well with his 0 CP for Heroic Intervention. And the ability to drop in for 0 CP as well at the end of your opponent's movement phase. So he is there really to a little bit more movement to your army, possibly score some points and then have a nice counter punch to him as well. He does have no ranged output. We're not going to count a bolt pistol that's -1 AP, 1 damage. Isn't going to do nothing, especially at one shot. And his melee profile is basically the same as Shrike's, but you're swapping the precision for the sustain hits too. The problem with that is that you've not got a character unit that's going to really hit hard. They both just got the lightning claws. They come in at the same strength, same amount of attacks, the -2 AP, 2 damage. So the sustained hits too is going to be quite nice, but you are going to be targeting those weaker units, the T3, T4 bodies. They don't really have anything, especially in melee, to buff you to hit hard into your elite infantry units, or even light tanks. They are a bit restricted in that sense. And because he can't join a unit, he can't buff anything to make it hit harder, which full boss units do currently struggle with. There's very limited ways to make them hit harder with their ranged attack. Now, the Raven Guard detachment does have a couple of things to get your ballistic skill and AP a bit higher the further out when you're targeting them. Nothing to really increase your damage, your attack output, or your strength to try and take out those tougher opponents. You are struggling a little bit with weight of firepower as well. And if you do take him, you are losing access to the Ultramarine characters, which means that the buffs to the Raven Guard are a bit of sidestep, because Gilliman being very good with his double access to open moment, get that +1 to wound. You're losing the free CP with Calgar's. Well, Calgar's a very good model with a good data sheet. You're swapping that free CP to use on anything to be restricted in the ways that you can get your buffs for your Sierra CP with Shaan. He is a cool model, but he does fail to move the needle for them. Raven Guard fans are going to pick him up because he is cool. He adds a little bit more thematic play to your army, but he's not really going to make it any more powerful. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to see all future content. Take it easy. I'll see you next time.